You've seen diagrams like this and thought, how? It looks complex, but it's not. I'll walk you through the full process. SketchUp, Illustrator, Photoshop. Fast, clean, minimal. No fluff, just design that works. Let's begin by creating a 3D model that we can later export to Illustrator or Photoshop. I believe SketchUp is well suited for quickly building simple models. I will start by making a basic square shape which will serve as the ground for my illustration. While I'm using a square as an example, you can choose any shape that fits your project best. I will raise the ground slightly to give it more of a diagram-like appearance. Now that the ground is done, you can start modeling your main ideas, start adding parts, buildings, maybe some interesting elements that will reveal your project better. It depends on what you want to achieve. Perhaps you don't need to add every detail because you just want to show a specific message about a space or activity. In that case, I would avoid adding too many details. I am going to show an amphitheater as a possible space in my project. I started by drawing a few circles and later rose them to form the amphitheater. Also, I decided to raise and form the relief in the back of the amphitheater. The square seems a bit too big, so I'm gonna quickly reduce its size. Now that the model is almost done, we can start coloring it. By adding colors, it's gonna be easier to clip the model and add the textures. We're gonna change the colors later, either in Illustrator or Photoshop, so it does not matter what color you pick. I recommend using solid colors and not textures because using solid colors will make the recolor process easier. I'm gonna use brown color for the amphitheater and green for the grass. Now that the model is finished, we can start exporting it as a 2D graphic. But before I export, we need to set up the view angle. I want this diagram to have an isometric view. To set an isometric view, I will click on Camera and select Parallel Projection. This will maintain parallel lines without converging at a vanishing point. However, to achieve a full isometric view, I will now click on Camera once again, select Standard Views, and choose ISO. This will give me a perfect isometric angle. If your diagram does not fit well on the screen, you can always adjust the angle to your needs. Now that the view setup is done, we can start exporting the image. In total, we're going to need to export two files. One is a PDF file with the full model, and the other is just a shadow image. A PDF format file will allow us to easily edit colors and lines in the Illustrator. To export it as a PDF, click on File, then Export. Choose 2D Graphic. Lastly, choose PDF as a type of export. Rename the file and choose where you want to save it. Now, as for the shadow export, you want to first enable it in the options. You can do that by clicking View and choosing the Shadows option. This will enable shadows. You can adjust the time of the day and angle of the shadows in the Shadows menu. Take time to find the best angle for shadows. We want to export just the shadow and have everything else in PDF. So to turn off the colors of the model, I am going to change the style to Hidden Line. This will turn off any color. Also, I want to hide the lines, so I am going to edit the style by clicking the edit bar in the menu and by unchecking the edges option. This will give us an empty view with just shadows. Note how we can see the model's shadows on the ground. I want to hide it, so I am going to enable lines. To see the model itself, select everything, and I am going to lift the model so the shadow will go further away. The more I move the model up, the further the shadow goes. To export the shadows, disable lines, click on File, then Export, choose 2D Graphic. As a file type, choose PNG. I recommend exporting it in at least 2000 pixels. You can change the image size by clicking on Options. If you're enjoying this SketchUp breakdown so far, feel free to subscribe. I've got more like this on the way. Now let's hop to Illustrator. I opened a PDF file in Illustrator. I am going to use Illustrator to change colors and make lines thicker. You can do it all in Photoshop too. I just think Illustrator is faster for this kind of job. I am just going to use colors from one of the palettes I found on Pinterest. So to change the colors, I am going to select the planes I want to recolor, and after that, just select a color I want to color them with a color picker. I am going to do the same with Amphitether. Note that Amphitether has a lot of planes. So to speed up the process, click on Select, then Same and choose Fill Color. This is going to select all planes that have the same color. However, Amphitether has a few different shades of brown, so you might need to do this step a few times. Next, by holding Shift, I am going to select diagram edges and make them thicker. You can also group them, so it would be easier and faster to select them later. Lastly, I am going to fix lines on the amphitheater, because some of them are thicker than they should be. This is how the final variant looks. Now, we need to export it to Photoshop to make the final details. Click on the file, then Export, choose Export As. Make sure the save type is set to Photoshop PSD format and click Export. Choose 300 ppi and click OK. Open the PSD file in Photoshop, select the folder with all layers, right-click and click on Merge Group. This will turn everything into one image. Next, import the shadow image, but now, as you can see, the shadow image is very small, which means that the size of our original model image is very big. So first, what I'm going to do is make it smaller and try to match the size with the shadow image. When the size is somewhat similar, move the shadow layer up and apply the multiply effect. It will hide the white color and will show just the shadows. Finally, crop the image and finish resizing it to fully match the model image. Leave some space above for the trees. Now I want to remove some lines from the amphitheater for it to look cleaner. So I'm going to create another layer and just paint it over with a brush using the same brown color. Next, we can start adding textures. I am going to create a new layer dedicated to grass. Paste grass texture and transform so that the view angle is similar to an isometric model. Make sure that the grass texture area covers all the green parts. I am going to hide the grass layer for a moment. Choose the selection tool, right-click on the image and select the color range option. Using this tool, select the green color where the grass will be. You can also change fuzziness for more precise selection. Click OK. This will select all areas with your chosen colors. Now, I am going to select the grass texture layer and create a mask. Now you can unhide the layer. I am going to change the layer opacity to somewhere around 35%. Also, I am going to adjust the image brightness by clicking Image, then Adjustments and choosing the Exposure option. And I will increase the offset parameter. Now, I am going to do the same process with the amphitheater and other textures. Now we can finalize the diagram by adding trees, bushes, people, or maybe even birds. I am going to start by adding some trees on the sides. If you are adding the same tree, you can flip it to make it look different. Lastly, I decided to add shadows for the trees. I would just copy the existing trees and transform them to make them look as laid down on the ground. After that, I will merge everything into one image and turn it completely black and reduce the opacity somewhere to 30 to 20%. I will cut some of the shadows where they should not be. I recommend adjusting the tree brightness by increasing the offset parameter, just like for the textures. Using the pen tool, I drew some lines to increase the thickness of the lines near the sides of the diagram. To complete the diagram, I will add black silhouettes of people. I will adjust the opacity or change the color of the silhouettes to gray so they better fit and blend with the diagram's colors. Feel free to experiment and see what fits your diagram best. Thanks for watching. Hope this helped level up your diagrams. If you're looking for beautiful free tree assets that actually look good in SketchUp and Illustrator, I've put together a curated list just for you. Click right here to check it out. See you in the next one.